It's New Year, everyone. Happy New Year, and thank you for joining us on the program. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. We're quite optimistic about all of the things that will happen in the new year, especially the feelers we're getting from government. We heard from Mr. President again this morning. I'm not sure it was a video speech, but we read from him. Perhaps we should put it that way. And it's coming a few days after his maiden media chat, where he also reeled out quite a number of promises. He's talking about the renewed hope agenda again. In his speech today, he's looking at positive economic indicators, pointing to what seems an encouraging outlook for the new year. Fuel prices, according to him, are gradually decreasing. We hope that that can be sustained, especially with the Warri refinery now at 60% operation. Add that to Port Harcourt refinery, and of course the big one, the Dangote refinery. We hope that the Kaduna refinery will also come upstream in the course of this year. He's talking about foreign reserves rising and that the Naira is also being strengthened against the US dollar. But at the center of it is the skyrocketing cost of food in the market. And that is a challenge the president appears to have acknowledged all through his conversations and communication with Nigerians. And this time is proffering some specific solutions. One of it is increasing production. He's also unveiling the National Values Charter in the course of this year. Another important issue that he's talking about is credit facilities for Nigerians and industries. Our attention this morning is turned to the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. And we're finding out what has happened thus far. We're hearing some new strategies ahead of the new year. I'm joined by the MD CEO, Akintunde Sawyerr. Mr. Sawyerr, good morning and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me in the studio this morning.
Happy New Year to you.
Yes, and to you.
I'm glad that you took a break. Did you get vacation at all? Because late last year we were still hearing from you.
I'm not sure that we have the luxury of taking vacations
like that.
At this time when we're trying to ensure that we accelerate as many good government policies as we can so that they can translate into something for the people.
It sounds good. We have about 1 hour. We'll open the phone lines at some point and also get some reactions on X. Mr. President last month did say government has disbursed about 34 billion naira in student loan to over 300,000 students across the country. We got some more specific figures from you. You mentioned 326,000 that have applied. But how many really have received payments as we speak?
Okay, so, you know, the way that this system is structured is that as soon as people apply for the loan, we earmark a certain amount of money to ensure that we can cover them. Okay. Beyond that, we've then got to follow a process that ensures that we are paying the right people the right amount of money at the right time. So currently, we have disbursed something like 18.5 billion naira to institutions. Okay. So in other words, they've received in their account that amount of money. Upkeep is paid monthly, so that's a monthly rising cost, but we've actually ring-fenced the funds to ensure that nothing happens to those funds. We've disbursed about 5.5 billion naira so far, and every month that goes up. On top of that, we're getting new applications every month, and we're getting increased
The
numbers.
upkeep gets the students personally, right?
Yes, it goes directly to their bank account. Yes, directly.
So how many students are benefited as we speak?
So to date, we have about 115,000 students who've received both their institutional fees paid and also received stipends. But as I said, that number is growing daily. So as we approve, we sign off, funds get dispersed. So
it's still a far cry from the 1.2 million students you talked about that should benefit from federal institutions.
Sure, sure. It's a far cry from it because you've got to take into account that, you know, we started this scheme at the end of May 2024. And when we set the target of 1.2 million, it wasn't by year end. It's the number of students that we believe will be eligible. So today we have over 335,000 students who have benefited from this. To get to 1.2 million isn't going to take a lot. But that target wasn't set for now. Okay. Like it's an aspirational target, and based on the trends that we're seeing, 1,000 to 1,500 applications a day, it's eminently achievable. But it's not just about giving people money; it's about giving people money meaningfully, so that they're doing the right things, the right courses, the right in the right institution.
Did you say 1.2 thousand applications daily?
I said 1,000 to 1,500 applications every day.
Every day?
Every day is what we're...
So where are we getting the perception from that that there is an enrollment deficit, or that people are not quite aware of the program, or people are laid back in applying for the loan?
So, there's obviously laid back. There's some people who are laid back in applying. Not everybody wants to take a loan. This is for a variety of reasons. Some are cultural. Some are because they don't understand the program fully. Some is because of the skepticism that people have around government initiatives. Our job is to ensure that we remove that fear, we remove that skepticism, we create awareness, and we encourage people to understand that an interest-free loan, which is what this is, that doesn't tie you or criminalize you if you can't pay back, because we don't actually go after people who cannot pay because they don't have the funds. Just getting that message across is the critical thing. Awareness is very high, but the level of misunderstanding is also high. So what we need to do is sort of increase the trust bridge between us and the general public, so that they understand that it's not just something they can dismiss.
I'd like us to measure the challenge of adoption with the real enrollment. As we speak, not everyone who has applied has gotten the loan, yes?
So when you say gotten the loan, do you mean have been disbursed?
Exactly.
You're correct, yes. Not everybody has been disbursed, because we have to follow a process. Remember, we're dealing here with taxpayers' funds, government funds, and we've got to make sure...
How long does it usually take? Let's say I want a loan as a student, and then I apply today. Okay,
so our target, our own target from application to disbursement is 30 days after the processing has been completed. So it can take up to 40 days. Okay. However, it's important to recognize that there are some dependencies that we have. So if you look at the process, or if I can explain the process to you, the students apply for the loans. We process them. If everything is right, we approve the loans. Then we send the list, because it's an online process. We send the list back to the institution. The institution has to verify and confirm that those students are indeed theirs. That process of them verifying and confirming back to us can take some time from their end. So we have those dependencies. And until we receive that confirmation, it doesn't go out. So in certain cases, it's taking longer, because we need that final verification from the institution, because we never meet the student.
What are the things you are looking for on your side during the verification process?
Okay, so first of all, the law absolutely requires that we can only give these loans to Nigerians. So you must have a NIN, it must be a valid national identification number. Okay. Because it's a loan, you've also got to have a bank account. So you've got to have a valid BVN, because again, we need to be sure that you can receive the loan in a bona fide proper bank account that belongs to you, and that we can actually recover that via the proper banking system for audit purposes. At the tertiary education level, which is where we are mandated to give these loans, the tertiary institutions, colleges of education, polytechnics, universities that are government-owned, either federal government-owned or state government-owned, you need to have access to those institutions through JAM. So you need to have that. The rest of the information is really KYC, but those three critical pieces of information must be there, and they must be cross-checkable, if you like, with those institutions, JAM, the central bank, BVN, and of course, NIMC for the national identification number. Those are critical steps in ensuring that we can approve the loan.
Can students in state-owned universities now apply?
Students in state-owned universities have, not only can they apply, they've been applying and we've been paying.
You've been paying them as well?
Absolutely, yes. Lots of state-owned.
I thought you started with federal institutions.
We did, because with all these projects, you have to phase them in. We started with federal, and then we moved on to the states, and now we pretty much have complete data from all of them.
Are there plans for private-owned universities?
The law doesn't allow us to do that. When you say are there plans, I know that the president is very keen that these loans are available to all Nigerians. When I went to see the president, he said that all Nigerians must have access to these loans. But the law as it sits at the moment only makes it available to those in government-owned institutions. That's federal and subnational, state-owned.
So why do you think there appears to be more enrollment in the north than in southern Nigeria?
Look, I can prefer my own thoughts around that, but I cannot give you a scientific or definitive answer.
Because one would think that, I mean, from the top of my head, you would think that the South will accept it more for obvious reasons.
So let me give a view, okay? And it's a view and an opinion, and, you know, time will tell whether or not, you know, this is something that actually is true. But look, over the years, and I think if you go back to the 60s, you'll find that education was probably embraced more by the South. This has conferred certain advantages in that regard. I think the North has probably recognized that education is something that, you know, must be embraced in order to be able to run the sort of system that we're running. And the North has just taken up the initiative. And it's the right thing to do. We always have to look at what's going on, you know, across the wall, if you like, so that we can take the necessary steps. My guess is that the North has really seen the value of education. I think it's possible that the South may, for a variety of reasons, be sort of being more lackadaisical, more relaxed about it. Maybe they feel that, you know, it'll come anyway. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I think within the South, and it's important that we're not too generalistic about the things that we say, because you can't apply this to everyone. Within this sort of Southern community, there's also some reticence sometimes that you find about people approach to loans. What does it mean? Is it going to bind me? Is it going to criminalize me?
Can I leave the country afterwards?
Can I leave the country afterwards? All those things are there. And that's why I said to you earlier that it's not just about awareness. It's about really communicating the right messages. Because if you create awareness with the wrong message, people just ignore it and they forget what they've been told. But this is an interest-free loan. It never seeks to criminalize those who are taking it. There's no stigma with it. We're not going to come after people with the police to say you haven't paid, because you don't have to pay unless you've got work. You never have to pay unless you're earning. And also, there's a long moratorium, which means that